Jacqui, what would you say, what's the biggest money lesson that you've ever learned?
I think that thinking right back to, I guess, the beginning of my career, and I guess my mum and dad were always very responsible, moved to Sydney from the North Coast, bought a house. I sort of grew up in, surrounded by that and financial responsibility. And I guess when I started working, I was living at home. Like I had nothing to do with my money apart from, buy clothes. Basically, I was 20 years old. But I guess I started from that time really going, okay, well, I'm going to save, X number of dollars per month, and kind of just did that because I was lucky enough to be living at home. And I guess it was because of doing that for the first few years of my career that, I was able to kind of buy an apartment in my 20s. If I hadn't have had that opportunity to just basically live at home and put some money away, that never would have been possible. I kind of really feel for people now in Sydney. It's just like crazy prices. So I guess I grew up in that kind of, save what you can, buy what you can afford at the time, because at the time it wasn't much. But then over the years, those assets grow in value. So I guess I've always been a little bit that way, like very risk averse, like try and put it away, get on that property ladder. And, then many, many, many years later, ended up getting a second mortgage, which was kind of terrifying. But yeah, you just do what you can. And I guess you look back and go, hey, that was an okay decision to make, even though it felt terrifying at the time. So I think the biggest money lesson I've learned is just, save what you can, look at what you need to spend and what you don't. And I think for me, that felt comfortable. I'm not a shares person. I'm not a risk person. Property felt like a good option. And I guess over the years, you can look back and go, well, that wasn't a bad move.
Absolutely. And I think that the fact that you say when you start early, I think that is what oftentimes will give you a lot of options further on in your career to make some of the career decisions, like, yes, starting the business, but also, like you mentioned, that big shift that you did and going to a contract and giving up that stability, and then that leading into a bit of a purple patch in your career that I've been talking to a few different sports people actually, and for a lot of them, it's they don't. Sometimes you get caught up and then they're quickly earning, a bunch of money, don't make the best decisions. And then they're sort of forced to make decisions based on the financial implications, as opposed to thinking, well, what's the best thing for my professional career? In their case, it's a sporting sense, but can apply to anybody. And I think that you get that foundation in earlier on. If you would have waited till your 30s, then you might not have had the same level of flexibility to be able to pursue some of those things, which then stops you from, one, achieving the career stuff that you've got, and then two, taking that leap to launch your own gig and do the things that you're doing now. So I think that's a solid lesson out there.